As we have discussed systole and diastole, it's important to understand that the heart undergoes a continuous cardiac cycle, which includes three main stages: cardiac diastole, atrial systole with ventricular diastole, and atrial diastole with ventricular systole. This ongoing sequence of contraction and relaxation allows the heart to pump blood efficiently throughout the body. During cardiac diastole, all the heart chambers are relaxed, and blood flows passively into the atria and ventricles. In atrial systole with ventricular diastole, the atria contract, actively pushing the remaining blood into the ventricles to ensure they are completely filled. Finally, during atrial diastole with ventricular systole, the atria relax while the ventricles contract forcefully, sending blood out of the heart into the aorta and pulmonary artery. Through this continuous cardiac cycle, the heart maintains a smooth, one-way flow of blood, coordinating the contractions and relaxations of the atria and ventricles along with the opening and closing of the valves. Now, let's look at the functioning of the heart during a heartbeat, step by step, and see how the contractions of the muscles and the actions of the valves work together to keep blood flowing in one direction. It begins with relaxation, or diastole, when the muscles of both the atria and ventricles relax. This lowers the pressure inside the heart, and the semolina valves close to prevent blood from flowing back into the ventricles. Next comes atrial contraction, or atrial systole, in which the atrial muscles contract and push blood into the ventricles. During this stage, the atrioventricular valves, the tricuspid valve and the bicuspid or mitral valve, which is the only valve with two flaps while the others have three, remain open, allowing blood to flow smoothly from the atria into the ventricles. Then we have ventricular contraction, or ventricular systole. The ventricular muscles contract powerfully, which raises the pressure inside the ventricles. As this happens, the AV valves close to stop blood from flowing back into the atria. At the same time, the semolina valves, the pulmonary and aortic valves, open, allowing blood to be pushed out of the heart. The right ventricle sends blood to the lungs through the pulmonary artery, while the left ventricle pumps blood to the rest of the body through the aorta. After this, diastole occurs again, allowing blood to flow from the veins back into the atria, and the whole cycle begins anew. This coordinated sequence of contractions and relaxations, along with the precise opening and closing of the valves, ensures that the heart functions as an efficient, one-way pump. So remember that the relaxation phase is the diastole. During this phase, all the heart muscles, the atria and ventricles, are relaxed, allowing the chambers to fill with blood. The pressure inside the ventricles drops rapidly. When the ventricular pressure falls below the arterial pressure, the semolina valves close, preventing blood from flowing back into the ventricles. This closure produces the familiar, dub, sound of the heartbeat. Since the atria are also relaxed and at low pressure, blood flows naturally into them from the veins. Deoxygenated blood enters the right atrium through the vena cava, while oxygenated blood enters the left atrium through the pulmonary veins. Once the atria are filled, they will contract during atrial systole, pushing blood into the ventricles and continuing the cardiac cycle. Now let's focus on the next step, the atrial contraction, or atrial systole. During this phase, the muscles of both atria contract, which increases the pressure inside the atria. This higher pressure pushes blood into the ventricles, which are relaxed at this time. The atrioventricular valves, including the tricuspid valve on the right and the bicuspid or mitral valve on the left, remain open, allowing blood to flow smoothly from the atria down into the ventricles. Since the ventricles are relaxed and at a lower pressure, they fill easily with blood. This phase is important because it ensures the ventricles receive the final volume of blood before they contract, preparing them for the next stage of the heartbeat. And now, let's move on to the another next step, which is ventricular contraction, or ventricular systole. During this phase, the ventricles contract powerfully, causing a rapid rise in pressure inside them. As the ventricular pressure becomes higher than the pressure in the atrioventricular valves close, preventing any backflow of blood. This closure produces the familiar, lub, sound of the heartbeat. As the ventricles continue to contract, their pressure rises above the pressure in the arteries, causing the semolina valves, the pulmonary valve on the right and the aortic valve on the left, to open. This allows blood to be ejected from the heart. From here, deoxygenated blood flows from the right ventricle to the lungs via the pulmonary artery, while oxygenated blood from the left ventricle is sent to the entire body through the aorta. Once the blood has been ejected, the heart relaxes, and the cycle begins again. So overall, the functioning of the heart can be understood through the cardiac cycle, which consists of a sequence of events ensuring continuous blood flow. Diastole is the phase of relaxation when the heart chambers are filling with blood. During this time, the right atrium fills with deoxygenated blood from the body, and the left atrium fills with oxygenated blood from the lungs. This is the primary function of diastole, allowing the heart to prepare for the next contraction. Some events are often mistakenly associated with diastole. For example, the pulmonary and aortic valves opening actually occurs during ventricular systole when the ventricles eject blood. Similarly, the tricuspid and mitral valves closing happens at the start of ventricular systole, not during diastole. Understanding these distinctions helps clarify the timing of each phase. Diastole allows the atria and ventricles to fill, atrial systole pushes the remaining blood into the ventricles, and ventricular systole forces blood out of the heart into the arteries, completing the cardiac cycle efficiently.